Hey everybody, welcome to the channel if you are new, and welcome back if you're already a subscriber. Today we are going to be doing my March plan with me. I did actually do the plan with me on Instagram Live, so this is the saved video and I'm just voicing over it so that you guys get the chance to see it too. One thing that I just want to say is it's going to be a little clunky and weird because I was talking through the video, obviously with the people watching at the time. So there's weird pauses and flip backs to show people as they joined. It was strange, to say the least. But just going to dive right on into it. So I did not pick green because of St. Patty's. I just picked green because I was feeling it. It was so weird that it turned out that way. But I used my watercolors from Jane Davenport and Daniel Smith to make all the lovely watercolor circles. And then you see me going back with my Prismacolor brush pen in black and a Sharpie paint pen and it was the water-based Sharpie paint pen in white, and I believe it's the extra fine, which are kind of hard to get your hands on. I've already kind of made the switch to the Signo Uniball community with that in the broad tip. And I'm pleased with that. I'm very pleased with it. As long as you don't get a bad batch, you're in a good place. The stamps I'm using are from Studio Calico. They came out with a documented set for every season. So there's fall and winter and spring and summer, and this is actually from the spring set. It had these really cool circles and half circle patterns. So I stamped those out. I mostly use my monthly page for I always use my monthly page to track my fitness and my bills. So down the side, I track my bills, and in the monthly layout, I actually track whatever workout I did that day. I know I've already flipped ahead, but I just want to touch on everything as I go. I do have a Hobonichi Techo Cousin, and I am using an AVEC edition. I prefer the year being split that way. This is my second book, I believe. I did all of 2018 in it. I did 2019, and now I'm in 2020. So I'm about at a full 2 years now in Hobonichi land, and I adore it. I love the paper. It has its challenges. I won't pretend that it doesn't, but I do love it. It definitely is my planner piece. Now, talking about where I'm at now in the video. So this is my monthly starter page, I guess you could call it. It's the part in the back of the book before you get into your daily pages. I really wanted to start challenging myself to be very artsy on that page because I get this itch to want to use new supplies I've gotten or try a new technique or whatever's inspiring me at that time. James Burke Creative has been a huge part of my creativity process and inspiration lately. So it goes without saying that that page was obviously inspired by a tutorial that he had done for Valentine's, actually. And I just kind of followed the tutorial to make that little house. And it was very applicable to me for this point in this day when I was creating the layout, because I'm turning 29 this month in March. And I've given quite a bit of thought to what I want to see over the next year. So I have a running list. That's my 30 before 30 list. So 30 things, some big, some small, some time consuming, some super quick, that I just want to see done before I turn 30. And one of those bigger items is to buy a house. I have been, I would say, nomadic for the last couple years, and I've lived in apartments, and I've lived in mom's basement, and I've done the whole shebang. Lived kind of temporarily with boyfriends out of suitcases, so lots of different things, and it's time for me to settle down again and make a happy home, and I really want that to be a big goal of mine, of preparing for a move. So all the things that'll go with that, both financially and cleaning and decluttering, to actually kind of playing on Pinterest boards and figuring out what I want this home to look like for me. So it made a lot of sense to do the little happy home. And kind of do a little nod to the 30 before 30. So you'll see me play with that in a minute. There was a lot of drawing going on. I'm used to letting my page just sit there and then coming back to it and turning the camera back on and editing it all together. But doing it with Instagram Live was definitely a new experience to have to do it in real time. That's why I'm very thankful that I drew out that whole spread and got to erase and play before I had to film. And I did do that intentionally so that people on Instagram Live weren't on there all day with me. But I did also hand letter a quote from The Greatest Showman, discussing that every room inside is filled with things from far away. And I think it says a million dreams is all it's going to take, maybe at the bottom too. I can't remember. We'll see when I hand letter it out, I guess. But I do also have some trips that I would like to take before I turn 30, both in the States to see friends that will be kind of inexpensive. And then I do want to take a very large trip for my 30th. That being said, I'm doing the voiceover now super late. I've been trying to get this voiceover done for quite some time. And I just so happened to be given the time. Thank you, coronavirus, because that is not to make a joke of this, because it is definitely not a funny thing. But I'm working from home indefinitely right now. So being able to take quick breaks to film voiceovers and edit videos is going to be a strange new commodity in my life. But I thought now would be a good time while I had the house to myself and a little bit of quiet time. So thinking about travel is definitely a very far-fetched idea right now, but I will hopefully be able to still make that dream come true. Being in Italy for my 30th birthday has always been a massive thing to check off my list, and hopefully that will be able to happen. If it's not, that is just the universe being the universe, and I've got to go with her because she knows best sometimes. But I certainly hope that it comes to fruition. I am doing a little bit of hand lettering right now. Again, I did do the spread in advance, so everything was kind of laid out for me. I am using my Micron pen in 0.1. I prefer this pen. I probably need to get some more. I do like that particular point. I think it's worked very well for me. Without it being too thick or too thin, I think that's that perfect middle ground for me. Getting into 0.5, definitely getting a little chunky, in my opinion. That's just my opinion and my preference. Sorry, because some of this is off camera. Yes, because I scooch it really close to me so that I can write really well. And then I forget that I get out of frame a little bit. I don't know that I love the way that this looked outline-wise, but I just kind of had to go with it once it was done. I did like how the little house turned out, more or less. That red door was a pain in the butt because I didn't let the exterior, that gray exterior, dry enough before I started painting, and so it kept bleeding out, so it was kind of a pain. The gray and the red actually make sense for me because I love every shade of gray. Truly, I do. Blue gray is gray, dark gray, almost black gray, every gray. If I could have every gray in a house, I probably would, actually. My house would be probably more than 50 shades of gray. It would be every shade of gray. And I've always wanted a red door. That's just been a thing. I love red doors. They just make me happy. No relation to Elizabeth Arden, who I think has the red door perfume, but I've just always loved red doors and gray houses with dark gray roofs, or black shutters, very neutral colored homes. So it made sense that I would make my little baby dream home the colors that I like. I did a little doodly border on the hill. I don't know if I actually really love it or not, but it is what it is. I go back and make, I don't know if we call them flower details or if we call them leaf details at this point, but they look like little heart leaves And you'll see me do it on the currently and then also on all of the scallops just to add a little bit of extra detail. I think I'm going through a phase where I'm liking it in not only like my daily spreads and just hand lettering, but I'm liking it just 24/7, and I'm overdoing it a little bit. It's my phase at this moment. It does say 1,000,000 dreams is all it's going to take. Awesome. Now that I know what the page says. But I do love Greatest Showman. I love the soundtrack. From pretty much the first 5 seconds in, I was obsessed. My mom actually bought it for me on DVD, not last Christmas, but the Christmas before that. And she constantly makes the joke that my cat hides because she doesn't want to deal with me singing in the jazz hands, which might be an actual thing. I'm not quite sure. But I do love the movie and all the hope and the happiness that it brings. The joke became, no one dies, not even the dog, because I feel like someone always dies in a movie, but no one dies, which I love. And it's just happy and sparkly and fun. And I always wanted to be a circus performer as a kid. So that's a fun fact about me. I wanted to either be a trapeze artist or I wanted to be like the girl that rode on the back of the elephant kind of thing. So, of course, I love the movie for everything it is. But I liked the idea of this beautiful home that I was creating filled with things from around the world and my adventures, and not being cluttery, just being descriptive of the life that I was living and that I wanted to live. And I'm enjoying making a Pinterest board and thinking of things to bring home from travels that are useful and not just take up space. So that's very exciting to me. So I love how this page is a very clear representation of my brain at that time. And it's so wild to think about how much has changed since just filming this video and the priorities in my life. The dog is coming out of the bedroom, so if you hear a little tiny tapping, that's what it is. Her teeny tiny little tapping feet across the floor coming to lay next to me. So back to the page. There goes the little doodle flower leaf nonsense that I threw in there. I am curious though, and feel free to comment down below. Where are you located on this beautiful planet? How is it affecting you and your city and your community? And what are you doing whilst at home? Are you at home, or is your job something in a medical industry or in an emergency service industry where you can't be home? I'm just curious to see kind of where we are all at. I think there's something to be said for the fact that we're going through it as not a nation or not as an area affected by, a disaster naturally. This is something that's happening worldwide, and that just blows my mind. I cannot, it makes my head spin every single time I think about it. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. So here I'm just kind of flipping back and forth. Sorry, I probably should talk about what's going on in the video. And now I'm going to get to the super duper boring part where I'm just going to stamp. I'm going to stamp all of my weekly nonsense. So I use Studio L2E stamps for my weekly tracking. I track my water, and then I do use stamps that are no longer available from Studio Calico to put my little food symbol in, and a little film, I don't know what you call them, the thing that they clack together. I don't know what it's called. To map out my tracking for the week. So I track what I want to film, I track my meal prepping, and I track my water. So you're going to see me stamp all of that boring nonsense. So instead of me babbling and talking all over this, I'm going to insert some nice, lovely music for you to listen to. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoy the video and it's not super boring to watch me stamp from here on out. But again, feel free to comment down below and let me know how you and your loved ones are coping with the virus across this beautiful world. Thank you so much. Be kind to each other. And until the next video, I hope you all stay safe and well. Admittedly, I completely forgot about the fact that at one point in the middle of the live stream, I show off this guy to my friend Taylor, who happened to be tuning in at the time. I do actually hand make travelers notebooks and traveler notebook inserts, so feel free to check out my Etsy shop for that. But I was just showing off to her where I had a sewing machine mishap, and we were chatting about broken sewing machines at the time. Sorry if you hear a dog barking in the background. We've got people at the house and she's going ballistic. Another thing I do want to touch on is that I happen to be doing an awesome birthday giveaway as well. There's a video here on my YouTube about it. There is a post over on my Instagram about it, and there's even more details on my Etsy. I'll link all of those down below as well. Thank you guys so much, and sorry for the quick break. Back to the music and the stamping. you.